Bro, I'm gonna sit like this. I'm gonna sit like this because of my leg. How's that?
Okay, let me see what you're looking like. Yeah, you're good. All right. So I'm gonna set you up, but then I'm gonna flip it over to you, right? Like I was telling you earlier, the
We're starting?
yeah,
Okay.
all of the all of us that knew Professor Gatlin, all of us that know each other that knew Professor Gatlin, having a certain fidelity to what he told us, but also having our own journeys in life, we have taken our personalities, taken our endeavors, and wrapped the Toyka or wrapped ourselves around the Toyka. So it all comes out a little different. And like when I speak about you, I always say that being a bodybuilder previously, before you met Professor Gatlin, your interest with the Qigong, martial arts, you're going to school. Now you got to tell me more about the schooling. You going to school, all of that has influenced what you do with the Toyka. Also, I'm always intrigued by the fact that Professor Gatlin used to tell you about studying the cells. So we want to talk about that. Also, him telling you about the anatomy. These are things that I know he didn't tell me. And I know other people that trained with him, knew him. I don't know him to have told him that. That's something that he told you for whatever reason. And, knowing you, I can kind of look and see, perhaps why he might have said that or what he might have saw in you that you would say that. Or maybe he said it and he put you on the track. I don't know. But that's kind of what I wanted to get this time, to look the difference in all of us and what we've done with the Toyka and what we've done with our practice of it and where it's taken us in life. Boom. There you go, brother. Good.
Okay. So I'm gonna start from here. Right? When I ran into him, and the first question he asked me, out of the other conversations, of course, dealing with like kitty paws and having the actual strength for martial arts, and he significantly pointed out that when he was in Vietnam, um, how the teacher told him that the West has martial arts, but they don't have the healing aspects to martial arts. So I said, And as we were talking, he grabbed this Toyka and he pulled it apart and he would talk to me like this, right? And he looked me dead at me. He looked dead at me and said, "Why does the cell go there?" I was like, And you know what? And being that I just said that, I had on my suit and bow tie. So I was telling him I was at the mosque in 127th and Lenox in the Nation of Islam. And then he looked at me, and that's when he said, "Why does the cell go there? Who is the author of the cell? And why doesn't the cell for the nose go somewhere else? Or why doesn't the cell for particular body parts go anywhere else? Why does the cell go where it go? Who's the author?" And as he was asking me that, and I'm like, and he has it pulled apart. And then that stuck with me because then like I walked away and I was like, yo, why does the cell go there? And I believe you and I was already doing audit sessions. And that's when I started diving deeper into the cell. as to like, oh shoot, why does the cell go there? And already having prior knowledge on chi, right? Which starting at the age of 14. So when I came across Professor Gatlin, I was 27. And but I couldn't fathom. So now I'm going through the days and stuff like, hey, oh shoot, why does the cell go there? Oh snap, wow. And I would pick up my biology books and different things like that. And the other conversation with Professor Gatlin was while we would do the Toyka, because then I would start to go see him multiple times, and do like basic movements with him. And he would always ask, why does the cell go there?
So he asked you that more than once?
Yeah, it was more than once, And I was like, wow, okay, I got it. I mean, I was getting it, I got it, but I don't got it, and I didn't get it. Like I got the question, I get it when he's asking, but I don't know the answer. And then knowing chi, and then bringing it back, then bringing it up into the latter part of school. As a matter of fact, I almost forgot something. Excuse me. I don't want to forget this part. I will always talk about peace. I was a very peaceful man. You know what I'm saying? And I will always go, yo, man, it's meditation. It's all about being peaceful. And as soon as I said that, he would go, war. And I'm like, yo, dude, you wildin'. But he would do it in such a way as if he looked like he was about to fight me. But he wasn't about to fight me. It's just that he was in that war mentality, that war stature. And I was like, oh, shoot, okay. And then he would go, and then I would go again, like later on, because it's about just being peaceful. Then he would say it again, war. Then why does the cell? He would make the space. Why does the cell go there? And I'm like, yo, dude, you wild. But I knew he was asking me something to try to figure it out, because so now getting into the Toyka and the chi training and the strength training. And then he would talk to me about strengthening the ligaments and the tendons and the joints of the body and making them dense. Right? So I go, okay, cool. So I was doing the Toyka and all that stuff like that, for a while, and then come up to the latter part, because just to do the math of the time that I've been practicing it and going over it, like you said, bodybuilding and competing in bodybuilding and competing in the cage and competing in track and field, all these different things with me dealing with nutrition and weighing meals and fasting, and also dealing with the How to Eat to Live by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where it's thought, doesn't matter how many meals a day you eat, it's your thought. And I'm like, okay. And you helped me to really go in depth with that during the auditing. So to bring it up to the latter part, I know I keep saying that. In school, when I went to school for massage therapy, I did not know that I was going to be learning Eastern modalities of massage therapy. And it was specifically surrounding chi. I was like, yo, okay. It was one of those like, yo, I don't even, yo. I'm like, and this is the top school in the nation. Swedish Institute is the top school in the nation when it comes to massage therapy, because of the hours and the one of the top professors has been there for about 45 years now. And I've experienced different levels of actually chi dealing with different professors that actually knew Eastern. And what made it interesting is that these were Caucasians that actually knew how to use their chi. And they each used it in different ways. And I was like, And then there was another class, it was an intro to Eastern, where the professor had us to rub our hands together. So all of this time, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Y'all, wait a minute, wait. This is what's going on? Like, are you serious? So rub our hands together. I have the whole class do it. Apply it to the, not apply it, but put it over your partner in the class. And if you feel anything, cold, heat, tingles, electricity, I'm like, yo, y'all talking like this and doing this behind the scenes? Yo, so then I started to ask myself questions. It started to make sense. Oh, shoot. They're practicing chi by emitting it from the body. And then also holding holding your own hands together to see if you feel anything. Like as of now, like as I'm talking to you, feeling it like different levels of electricity and static and stuff like that right now. So I'm like, wait a minute. And then the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said the highest form of energy is communication. So I started applying everything that I'm learning as far as even AP2, Anatomy and Physiology 2 class, dealing with the cells and how they move, energy, intent behind the Eastern massage therapy and the Chi. So to add on, before we even started Eastern classes, they had us doing Qigong. They had us doing Tai Chi. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So they were giving it to us in pieces, but they was also letting us know before you even practice this, you have to center yourself. You have to get your chi flowing. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So I'm there in class. I'm like, yo, do y'all really know what's happening right now? Do you really understand the information that we're getting? And then once they told us this was on the state board exam, that's when it hit me, bam. And a lot of these Caucasians that are here or Europeans were doing it already from the early 1970s and also late 60s. So I'm like, wait, hold up. Okay, let's go a little bit forward. So with the movements that we were given, the different movements we were given in our class, the Qigong and the Tai Chi, that's when I took my Toyka to school and I would actually do it with the movements. But what I first did was I brought it to the professor, one of the professors, and I said, this is how I do my Qigong. He did it, but I think he's pushing like 73 or 75 right now, one of those ages. And I do remember the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you learn how to live by the age of 75. And this was a humble guy. So I gave it to the professor and he did it. He gave it right back to me. He said, I understand it, but I'm not going to get into it because I'm already deep into it. He's already been doing it for 30, 40 something years. He said, because I'm so flabby. I'm so like, like a noodle, like a spaghetti. And I was like, aha. But he said, but if you do it, and then he walked away. I was like, ah. So this is a teacher that was reading different students in class by just placing his hand on different people on different parts of their body and reading us and telling us not what's wrong with us, but what needs to be tended to, which organ or how our personalities or health was, based by him placing his hand on you just like that. So when he put his hand on me, he said, you doing something's sporadic and erratic about your life. Give me another student. And I knew I was excited. I know I'm practicing Qigong. I know I'm doing all these different things. I'm like, yo, what did he find? Like, what did he pick up? Now let's go more so towards the cell, right? Each organ has a specificity. You know that word. Y'all know that word. A special job. So each organ has a meridian, which is a railroad, a trailway along the body. So now doing the Toyka, I'm gonna just put it on a light one, just for camera purposes. But doing here, right? If you do this, right? But again, the intent behind it, right? So if you do this one and you feel which muscles it's working, etc. And Professor Marvin Gatlin said, put it over your heart. Start there. But whichever muscles you're working intently, it's still Qigong, it's still Tai Chi. But what happens is you're actually activating it quicker with the intent in which you're activating the muscle.
Explain how is it Qigong and explain how is it Tai Chi.
So Qigong is the study. Qigong is the study of Qi flowing through the body. So it's more so of a standing still position. And when you're moving, you're basically opening up the channels in the body. So there is no martial arts, meaning there's no like I'm defending somebody or punching somebody or throwing somebody. So Tai Chi is geared towards like deflecting punches and even at the same time doing something light or hard or defending yourself. Qigong is the study of Qi that flows through your body specifically. So opening up the channels for you specifically for health wise or for you to get ready to work on someone.
Okay. Now, how does the tension of using the Toyka, how does that accentuate or bring anything out of the Qigong and the Tai Chi?
Good question. Thank you, because I will go all over the place. Mm-hmm. When I'm gonna show you, right? So as I'm doing it, I'm gonna explain it. So this is like on purpose. But as I open it slightly, intentionally, like, okay, it's like a warm-up. It's like, okay, which muscles, which meridians run along that body part. Okay, if it's large intestine, triple energizer, which deals with the immune system, and small intestine, right, on the outside, right? But you breathe, and those different meridians deal with one, letting go, which is the large intestine, which a lot of people tend to hold on to things in life. It could be mentally, spiritually, or physically, they're holding on to. The small intestine is being able to differentiate between what's needed in your life, what serves you, and what doesn't serve you. Food wise, energy wise, people wise, or whatever it is that you're thinking. It allows you to significantly go, okay, that's not needed, let it go. And this is what we need, take it in, absorb it. That could, and then the immune system is the balance between, the immune system is so that it can protect you. So the balance between of letting go and differentiating what needs to be let go, then your immune system will begin to get stronger. So doing the actual movement, you're breathing. But at the same time, it's not only affecting those three. You're just putting intention on those, but it has an effect on the others. So as you're letting go and as you're breathing, now you're focusing on now it has an effect, a trickle effect to the lungs, which is Po, which allows you to be present. For example, some people shallow breathing, they're not present on what's going on. They're just in a reactive moment or maybe a fear moment. What's going on in their mind is somewhere else. So this allows you to be focused on being present at the same time of letting go and differentiating what needs to be served and or what can serve you or just better release from the body.
But how about the added? Because you can do qigong, you can do tai chi, but the muscular effort that you use when you use a Toyka, what does that add to?
Got you. So to answer that question is that you're getting stronger. You're getting stronger. So the basic, the standard qigong tip, CD. I'm just use a specific group like the Asians do in the morning, right? On the park, we do this, we see them do that, we see them do this, we see them do that. All right. Now, in order to master qigong, it takes about 10 plus 20 years because now it's what are you moving, etc. Are you aware of the neurons, the muscles, etc. But there's no resistance, so you'll end up being more softer. This I can change gears like in a F1 sports car. I can start off small, I can start off light and immediately activate the muscles that surround those movements. And over time, as I move, right, as I'm moving, I'm engaging the joints immediately, the tendons immediately, the ligaments and the muscle fibers immediately. So they're being strengthened in every position. So as I'm moving and as I begin to wrap more rubber bands around, it's you can put it as like getting stronger or adding more weight. But in each movement, I'm getting stronger. You see, so nothing is being left out.
Okay, so
It's like the yin and the yang.
okay,
Instead of being too yin, instead of being too yang, you can cover both ends.
but you can cover it by the amount of tension you're putting on.
Yep. And also based on the individual's strength levels, because there can be somebody who's literally muscles are atrophy. They may need to do it. And like I said, my professor's been doing it for 40 something years without this. He said he's in good health. But if he would have did this, he would have been had more of a stronger stature.
Now you mentioned the time frame that it takes to learn the qigong or the tai chi. Would you say that using the Toyka accelerates
Yes.
that? And if so, how?
Yes. So one, again, I'm gonna speak from intention. So two people doing it with intention. One person doing it without the Toyka, doing qigong or tai chi with intention, But when you're doing it with resistance, it's getting you to activate, so you'll feel the muscles burn and start to fatigue, and that's a signal for me to go. Now it's time to change and shift it. Maybe I'm starting to fatigue where I'm starting to like, okay, I can't hold it any longer. Maybe I want to shift something. You see what I'm saying? Maybe I want to shift gears. Maybe I want to pull it harder or less, but the muscle is still activated. Now the continuous flow, circulation of blood is happening on a greater speed, because now it's not just here and it's just the shoulder. Now, if I'm doing the Toyka, I also have the hands involved, the wrist involved, the forearms, triceps and biceps and shoulders involved. And now, instead of the blood vessels staying constricted, I can get them to open up, which allows more oxygen and more circulation.
Okay.
And that's where it brings back down to the cell. Like, why does it go there? So if I'm doing the Toyka so long, then the cells are going to automatically just continuously flow to that area that I'm working.
Now you were doing qigong before you met.
Yeah,
Professor
when I was
Gatlin.
14.
Compare the difference. You've done it without the Toyka, and you've done it with the Toyka. What's the difference that you've noticed?
Okay, so there is a difference. Do I want to give the secret out? Of course, whatever. It's a secret. But anyways, so when I'm doing qigong, when I did qigong for years, I would feel light. In the past, prior to meeting Marvin Gatlin, I would feel light, and I go, "Oh, I feel light." But now, and I was also doing martial arts since age 5. So, but I would practice with people, and I just feel real, just light. But then I would have to get myself to get, right. But with this, let's say I put it down. Let's say I do it for like an hour straight. I actually feel more centered. So when I eat and take a nap and go to sleep, or take a nap and or go to sleep and wake up, I'm like, ooh, I'm feeling kind of thorough right now. So it gives my body is more activated, just in case if I have to grab somebody or even carry groceries or put on my bag or walk down the block, I just feel more like, yeah, this is where it's at. Like I don't have to flex. It's like the muscles is doing it on their own.
Good. All right. And the question he asked, why does
the cell go there?
Okay. For how long you been working with the toy?
13 years now.
Okay.
Off and on, and for the last 6-7 years, on.
What do you know now about why does it go there that you didn't know before? What have you learned in regard to the question he asked?
Well, one, your body definitely heals faster. Number 2, I have experience, well, everybody's diet is different, everybody's lifestyle is different, but I have experienced lesser inflammation. Number 3, more endurance when I'm doing my martial arts training and calisthenics training and weight training and any form of training. Number 4, when I eat, the food doesn't stay in my stomach too long. It just goes. And then when I do martial arts specifically, it doesn't matter what style I'm doing. I'm not saying this is end it all, be it all, but I'm able to endure longer. Like I'm able to shift gears, if that makes sense.
Okay. And as far as bodybuilding, how has being a bodybuilding shaped how you look at or approach the Toyka and what you get from it, what you notice?
So I'm gonna say this to be clear. I'm not against bodybuilding, but this time and day and age where I'm at health-wise and torn ligaments and all that stuff like that and muscles and all that from previous injuries, the bodybuilding has like let's say if I'm just doing biceps only for that day, but then it's stagnant. Beautiful, beautiful muscles now. But when I do this and I'm working the different muscle groups, and let's say I'm doing the bicep curls like so, or anything with the biceps, but this one is activated, you see? And then once that fatigues, I can switch it to another body part. I can switch it to a different movement or a different martial arts stance. And what that allows me to do is still build the muscle that I need to build in its definition, which comes from dieting, strength, endurance, and still keep. Whoa, did I just do that? Yes, I did. And and different range of motion.
Go ahead and get it if you want.
Where is it at? I don't even know where it went. Oh, I'm doing everything. All right, I found it. All right. You know what? Something else popped. I'm gonna have to owe you something because
Oh, no,
something
don't
else
worry
popped
about it. Yeah, don't worry.
that holds it.
Oh, that's that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we should switch this.
Okay. Sorry about that.
No, don't worry. And I'll hold. Oh, okay, yeah, the spring.
The spring, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. You may even find that. Oh, no, it broke. I see it.
You see it?
Oh, no, it didn't break. Yeah, I could probably fix that.
Okay. Just gotta slide it on, right?
Nah, where we at? Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so dealing with the bodybuilding, so the bodybuilding allows the muscles or the blood to be stagnant in one area, which is cool, but it takes the body about 5 to 7 days for that body part to heal. But this one, the blood is already circulating. It's already got a continuous circulation through the lungs, through the liver, through the heart to replenish oxygen and nutrients and damage cells a lot faster instead of just staying stagnant in one area.
Okay. Good. Thanks. Now, can you speak about, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but it's like bodybuilding is more about the aesthetics.
Yes.
Can you speak about the difference between bodybuilding and still being functional as opposed to the Toyka being function first? You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can you speak on that?
Well, so let's say I'm here, right? I'm doing basic bicep curls, right? Which is cool. It gives you the most beautiful biceps in the world because it's going to like focus on the bicep, right? Or the tricep or whatever muscle you choose. But you're going to do different variations. The only thing is that if I'm doing bicep curls, right? If I'm doing bicep curls, I can change it like this and I still have resistance. And then I can do hammer curls. So instead of doing bicep curls and then putting it down in basic and traditional bodybuilding and then lifting up something else to lift it for hammer curls, I've missed that nuance of the transition from one movement to another that Toyka would actually give you.
Okay. Now, would you say that, and again, this is a question, would you say bodybuilding robs you of functionality?
That depends on the individual. The individual may have a wrestling background and go into bodybuilding. But if somebody just specifically went into bodybuilding only, then I'm a massage therapist. So I've also had to like work people's muscles out just to even get them to have full range of motion. So the answer is yes, it does. It will rob you, but it depends on the individual.
And contrast that to the Toyka, how it if you would say aids in your functionality. And I guess what I'm saying is the example you just gave with the bicep curl.
Mm-hmm.
It's the word they use in bodybuilding is isolates the muscle.
That's like, mm-hmm.
But we know that the body works as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of like breaking yourself down or breaking yourself up to build yourself up.
Right.
But we don't work like that.
Right.
Now with the Toyka, if you're doing bicep curls with the Toyka, like you said, you're working other parts. So kind of, could you explain how the Toyka kind of fits more into our design as opposed to compartmentalizing and isolating?
Today there's this whole topic that's being expressed a lot, which is about fascia. It's a layer of tissue. Excuse me, it's a layer of tissue. I call it a sheet, but it's a layer of tissue that's in between the skin and the muscle. It's a bioelectric, right? It's what gives us the electricity feel, which is the traditional qigong practitioner or tai chi practitioner is looking to build through the moving the body as one. So you have the Toyka, right? And let's say I want to work my shoulders, right? But as I'm doing this, I'm moving up now. I'm moving it upwards. So I'm working the range of motion. So even though I may want to like isolate the shoulder, the rest of the parts of my body is still working as one. So it's like, okay, we'll stay stable while you're moving, while that one is active, right? In bodybuilding, again, you miss that nuance of moving from here to here. So in bodybuilding, you're just walking into the gym and you're just getting on the machine, right? And everything else is stationary, and you're just picking up or the machine or the free weights, and you're just lifting, just isolating the primary muscle and the secondary muscle that's working. With the Toyka, I could be in a martial arts stance, cat stance, horse stance, and the legs is working, the core is working, and as I'm breathing, right, I bring it up. I can bring the shoulder to the ear or the bicep to the ear. You see what I'm saying? Like that, and still work it. This one to that side and still work it, right? And bring it behind me and still work the triceps, etc., while getting some shoulders in. And then from here, working the rear delts by bringing it up, right? And pulling back. At the whole entire time, my blood is still flowing through. You see? But in bodybuilding specifically, I may just go to like a cable machine or a dumbbell. And I'm sure there's advanced bodybuilders that do contract their toes or quads or whatever the case is that they're doing a movement. But majority of the time, a bodybuilder who specifically wants to just activate that muscle will make sure the rest of the part of their body is not active in that particular workout so that they can isolate that muscle only, specifically for the judge to go, wow, their rear delt or their anterior delt or side delt is magnificent, because that's what we're looking at.
Okay, got you. Now let's shift to martial arts. Same question, really. You were doing martial arts before you met Professor Gatlin.
Yep.
And now with the introduction of the toy and not stopping martial arts, what have you seen? How has it aided to your practice of your art?
Good question. So I went back in the cage for kickboxing. I say cage because there's an event that has the kickboxing, Muay Thai, and MMA in a cage, right? So I didn't do the traditional training for kickboxing. I literally worked my jabs from here, literally, like from here, and I would do speed, slow, or even just pull back. You know what I'm saying? Because I needed the constant resistance for my jab. You see what I'm saying? Or if I wanted to do a hook, you see what I'm saying? I would come from here and do a hook, because if I am being pressed up against, or somebody's pressing up against me, my back is against the cage, that's resistance on me. So I'm already like, oh shoot, I'm used to the resistance. Now all I gotta do is just find that opening and just slide in, or even have the strength to push this person off of me so I can throw my jab or my hook or my uppercut. Mm-hmm. And also, so I've been practicing BJJ consistently. And that person doesn't know I do the Toyka, but that person has also said, he said, one thing you got though is that grip. That grip, like you got that grip. Like once you hold on to me, it's like I can't get you off. And I've noticed that, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I do got that continuous, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna grab this, I'm gonna grab that, or I may be able to hold on to something a lot longer during a round, a 3-minute round, a 4-minute round, or a 5-minute round. And that particular person has mentioned that, and he has about 15 to 20 plus, no, more than 20 plus years training with Henzo Gracie's style. So this is somebody who has also got the authentic BJJ training and is still doing it today, and has said that to me. He said, you got that grip. Whew, you got that grip. And I just left it on like, okay, thank you. But I didn't tell him I was doing a Toyka, but you brought me a Toyka, and that's the gift to him, because I found out he was 63 years old. I thought he was 45. So, yeah.
Oh, so he has a Toyka you got?
No, that's the one that you brought today.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to go to him. Yeah, he doesn't know.
Cool. How about let's milk the martial arts thing also. What other observations have you had as far as in your art with the Toyka?
Okay, so now I'm doing this, right? I'm doing rising block, inside block, outside block, downward block. Now, because of the system that I train in, we don't really get a lot of, well, we do Ironman, but we don't get a lot of what is it called? Like sparring time. to see if this really works. You see? And because the reason why I went into the fighting, the sport fighting, is to see where I stand at when it comes to punching, endurance, and blocking. Because if I'm not sparring enough in class with someone, or not coming against different types of levels of people, meaning like heights and weights and skill levels, and somebody who's more technical or more endurance, then I truly honestly don't know if if this style or this training works for me. So using a Toyka has allowed me to give me that, oh, okay, so I'm here. So I can do this, I can punch, I can do the blocks, I can do this, I can do that. Once I start practicing, it's like my body is like, yo, you in already. Like, you in. So if I do a block, wow, it happens. It's like my muscles or my muscle, the movement is already there. So the person may get in, but I'm more confident. I'm like, oh, it's already there. It's already there. It's already there. And I can give back. And I find myself having more endurance as time goes on.
Okay, cool. 1 second, brother. Something I would like to put on the record. I don't know if you remember. You probably remember. One day I called you. I woke up with you on my mind, and I called you, and I wanted to. The word is not congratulate. I wanted to acknowledge that you've been doing martial arts your whole life, and at a certain point, like you said, you wanted to see if it worked. And as a result of wanting to see how it worked, you went into the cage. You put yourself under the gun. And, a lot of us train. A lot of us have gone, to great heights in martial arts, but I don't know too many people who, let's say in the middle of their journey, decided that they wanted to put themselves, like I said, under the gun like that. And it wasn't just one time. You've been in that arena several times. And, I wanted to say that publicly, because I called you that day to tell you that. 'Cause like I said, I thought about it. I said, I have to give you credit for doing that. Because, ain't nobody come get you, throw you in there. You put yourself in there, and, I'm glad that I got the opportunity to even just say it to you publicly.
Oh, thank you.
Now, another question I wanted to add. Okay. I wanted to add something also to what, and then I want to say something. I want you to respond to it. When you mentioned Professor Gatlin, when you would say peace and he would say war, I always tell people peace and war is the same thing. It's just different extremes of the same thing, just like hot and cold. You don't have a thermometer for hot and a thermometer for cold. It's the same thermometer. They just one is on one end, one is on the other. So like in peace, I believe I don't know if it's a Chinese or somebody has a saying that really sometimes you have to go to war to get peace. Sometimes you have to go to war to defend peace. So really one actually turns to the other. But I wanted to know, what did you think about when you would speak peace, he would speak war? 1 second, let me flip it. There you go.
So speaking on the peace in the war, I put up a post and a statement, and I was talking to some martial arts brothers. I said, if you only are being trained to be an uki, the whole world is going to uki your ass. Like literally, like you're just going to be somebody's bitch, straight up. Like you're just going to be this one peaceful person I'm just uki for everybody. I'm just nice. You know what I mean? Like you may be sick with it, right? But you just used to being an uki, and I learned that while going into the cage as well. I was like, yo, I've been an uki way too long, right? I've just been way too peaceful.
Right. It's like you expect to get thrown around.
Yeah, I remember. I gotta say this. In 2023, I went back into the cage, right? And dude didn't even hit me. His hand went right here, and I kid you not, my body went into a side fold. And everybody was like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Why am I on the floor?" And then I woke up and I said, "Oh shoot, this is a fight." And I started banging back. Like I looked at the video the other day, like it was actually in April and 3 years ago. So that's what I mean about being too peaceful. Like, yo, you don't even know if you could bang or not. Your body's going to do what you've been trained to do. So no matter what belt you have or what training you've been doing, if you've just been too peaceful in your entire life, you're not going to give nothing back, even verbally or even mentally. Forget about physically, right? So about the whole peaceful in war, now dealing with the Toyka and then doing it while, training and all of that stuff like that, and just continuously keeping the motion, the constant tension, the constant resistance, the constant holding on and moving and changing the levels of the rubber band. When I put it down and I'm walking, I'm like, yo, I'm like
Oh
telling my
shit. I'm sorry,
go for it.
brother. Repeat that again.
That's fine.
I didn't have it. You got it. You
That's
might
fine.
gotta shoot it to me.
So
Um the part about being Uki too long.
yeah, so one thing I noticed, so again, so like I noticed that when I went into the cage, when I went back into the cage in 2023, and I do remember the other part, so I'm gonna say it. So when the guy put his hand here, right, he threw a hook punch. Right here, it didn't even touch me. It tapped me. And my body immediately went into a side fall. And I'm on the ground like, yo, what happened? And everybody's like, what happened? What? Because being the Uki too long, being too peaceful, if you be an Uki too long, the whole world's going to Uki you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to be someone's, or you can be the world's bitch. Like, oh, I know how to fight, but I'm expected to get hit and I'm going to fall. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not giving anything back. You're not used to resistance anymore.
Right.
You haven't been trained for resistance.
Like I said, you're used to being thrown around.
Right. So you're expected to be thrown around, and how you train, you're going to be thrown around. So there's not enough sparring. There's not enough give back. There's not enough, let's see what you could do. You see what I'm saying? So that woke me up, and I was like, nah, that's not cool. Like, how you know how to do all this fancy stuff, but you ain't giving nothing back? There's no fight in you. So that's what the sport training, the kickboxing, all that stuff, the BJJ and the boxing. That's that part, that offensive part that people are training. That's what will make them dangerous, according to somebody who's only just been doing self defense, only, and have gotten no fights in. So when doing the Toyka, like adding more resistance and doing the movements and sometimes not, because I've picked up sparring partners over the last few years, of course, but just doing the resistance, the movements, and feeling that tension, that burn, that practicing the strikes and all the blocks. When I put it down and I wake up the next day or just go about my day, I'm like, yo, like I'm telling myself, like, you got stronger. But then the next person, I'm like, yo, this ain't the same Uki. This ain't the same peaceful person, that peaceful Uki that know how to do karate tricks. You know what I'm saying? Now it's like, no, if you put your hands on me, there's going to be some form of hit back,
So when you do get in front of somebody else, maybe that you've known for a while, do they recognize the difference?
I have some students that have thrown me around, and then after a while, when I started to pick this up, they've noticed like, yo, you've gotten you. They would say, no, you've gotten. They give me that 5, that whole, you know what I'm saying? That like, yo, you give me some get back, and then there's other people where it's like, how is it that you're constantly pushing me back against the wall or fighting back? And just so you know, to put this on record, I don't do the traditional boxing training, which is like 10 rounds of jump rope, 10 rounds of sparring, 10 rounds of jabs, 10 rounds of abs, 10 rounds, you see what I'm saying? Or I don't do the BJJ rolling like the traditional, where it's like, all right, we're going to do this move, this move, meaning that this has allowed me to build up that resistance for those movements constantly. Because remember, I'm not putting it down for a whole hour. And now the longest I've done was 3 hours the other day. I've done it for 3 hours. So for an example, imagine me, I'll give you a picture. So I'm doing this, right? And this is considered like so I'm like, I'm moving it, right? Like, so I'm doing the movements. Well, come on, guy, come on. I'm doing the movements, but then at the same time, I'm keeping a resistance and switching it also and doing other stuff at the same time. So the resistance is not stopping. But for somebody who has experience of fighting in self-defense, I see where it's going. I see where it is. And at the very same time, I'm holding on to something. So if I'm holding on to you and we're doing Randuri or BJJ, that same movement is allowing me to build up with that as well. So I'm getting a punching, strikes, grabs, and throws.
So would you consider it like a secret weapon? And if so, how? How would it be a secret weapon?
One, this is a weapon. Because if I put it here, right? And if I get into a problem in the street, It's just a stick, and we practice in class with fake knives, right? So it's just a stick. So I don't have to hit you with my hands. That's one. It's already a weapon if you're smart. Two, it allows you to become a weapon because now, because of doing those different movements, even elbow strikes, you see what I'm saying, or throws, my hands is being geared to work this way, this grab, that way. You see what I'm saying? This way, that way, or even just here. So I call this the binoculars, like I'm watching you. You see, so I started making up different names, but it just allows me to just maneuver through different things at the same time. So even if we're close, if I'm close, I got you here. Even if I'm doing like the traditional punch, you know, my my chamber is even activated and my strike is activated. You see, so it's not just here, it's like I'm engaging. So everything is always engaged.
Thanks. Okay. Now let's go back to school. Do you have other examples? You mentioned the one instructor. Do you have examples of people in that world, whether they're instructors, students, but they're studying massage? When you bring the Toyka and you introduce it, what is some examples of their responses or experiences?
Actually, I brought it to people in school and everybody put it down. They put it down in the first day, the first week. They don't do it. They don't do it because now, where has this helped me with massage? I would literally put up my massage table and I would literally take the Toyka and move as though I'm doing a massage. So even my massages, I'm not tired after the first session. I'm just getting into it in the first 30, 40 minutes. So there's a flow my body's going through in which clients is like, yo, that was amazing. But they don't know that's also because I know what I'm doing. I know the text that I'm doing, but I'm not fatiguing. But I also feel amazing. So it's effortless for me to do the move because I've built the strength to press up against them, to lighten up if I have to. So it's not forceful. It's not too late. I could catch that moment right there, that incremental space that I was talking about, right there, or right there, or right there. You see what I'm saying? So if I want to do something where it's like I'm pushing, I'm like, oh, right there, or like there, or whatever it is I'm doing, whatever I decide to do with this, or however tension, it's those little increments, those little nuances. It's right there. Okay, right there, you like that? And I can actually hold it longer if I need to. I can work on the spot for 8 minutes if I have to,
Okay.
effortlessly.
Okay. Now, how would you say meeting Professor Gatlin, picking up the toy, working with the toy, has changed your life or benefited you in life?
When you're African American black male growing up in the United States of America, and you're in your 20s and you come across another dark skin, youthful looking at the time 67-year-old black male that's wearing this whole army fatigue and that's telling the martial artists that's telling the individuals that come and be like, I do martial arts, and he tells them and he goes like this and he says, punch me in my forearm, which I did and almost broke my wrist. How could that not be so intriguing? Especially if I didn't have no ego, but it's like, yo, like you see this man of a stature that stands up straight, poised, right? And looks at you dead in your eye and talks straight. Oh, you a black belt? Let's see. Dead on, not, oh, what style you do? Oh, da 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 da. It's like, let's see. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Instead of saying what style you do, it's like the old times that worked in the Shaolin movies. What style you do? Let's go. Today is like, what style you do? Well, I'll do this, well, I'll do that. All right, okay. So seeing him, strong black male, and just like, yo, like that's holding it down and just talking his stuff right then and there in front of you. First of all, you don't see that too often. Second of all, the martial artists today, the more degrees they get, the more weight they're gaining. So it's like with me as a bodybuilder who's disciplined in eating and training and fasting, that's an honest turnoff. Good people love them, but get out of my way because that's not where I was going. And then when I was a younger person looking at a black martial arts, the black African American black martial arts book and magazine of the legends, they weren't out of shape. You see what I'm saying? So my thing today is, unless you have a thyroid issue, you should not be out of shape, especially with the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad that's been circulating since the early 1900s. And then it's like, okay, got it. You see what I'm saying? So like health and fitness should be priority, especially since the big journey begins when you get your black belt. So to go backwards or to stay stagnant is not in my mindset.
Okay, cool. All right, I think we might be good. Anything else you wanted to add?
No, let's save some for another day.
All right, we're good. We're good. Yeah, that'll work.
Awesome. Yeah, 50 minutes.